Hello. Welcome to Cinemania. Len, you want to go ahead? Sorry.
No, you go.
All right. Welcome to
It's
Cinemania.
just vocal warm-ups.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You're just screaming.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
Sorry
Brandon.
about
No, you're good. I'm Brandon, alongside me, my co-host.
Landon Roberts.
Adam Sheik.
And Sam Goodrich.
And this is Cinemania. We talk about all things going on in movie news. What we've been watching in the week, review stuff, talk about movies, just general movie stuff.
Talk about movies.
Talk about the movies, yeah.
Yes.
So before we get into actually what we've been watching and everything, which is our first kind of thing on the list, just want to talk about Tenet, the Tenet trailer. Has everyone seen the trailer at this point?
I've not watched it yet, but it's fine.
What do we think about it? Either Sam or Len, what do you think about it?
So the one thing I said in our group chat, and I hope this isn't too big of a spoiler for the game I talked about, I want to say it was last week, Tenet might have a similar plot to Virtue's Last Reward, which is very funny to me, that a game that came out in 2011, 2012, predated Christopher Nolan and his big brain, because he's never stolen anything, ever. Never, Inception definitely wasn't a really good anime movie first. Never. Not once.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think it is a really interesting trailer. I mean, it looks like more Christopher Nolan insanity. And so I'm here for it. I just still don't know if I fully understand the concept and how it works. But I'm here for it. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to sit through 3 hours of exposition and 30 minutes of a movie,
I mean, that's kind of how all of his movies are too. We learn stuff about it, but we don't know the whole kind of scope of it or what it's about. But I don't know. I kind of trust Christopher Nolan. I don't really love all of his films. There's only one that I really, really love. But I trust him, honestly. He's a good filmmaker. I trust him.
Mm-hmm.
Landon, what do you think?
I don't know. Okay, listen. I think Christopher Nolan is not a great director. I think he has good ideas, and I think he has a good eye for certain things, but all of his movies are kind of mids to me. I've never been blown away. The only movie that I've ever been blown away by him from is Dunkirk, and that's a movie that is very grounded, and it's not like a usual Christopher Nolan kind of, oh, there's this twist, oh, it was the bookshelf that was inside of a dream. But that was going backwards the whole time. Big brain. I'm Christopher Nolan. Big brain.
Was having sex with his brother.
But what I love about Dunkirk, what I love about Dunkirk is even though it's so grounded, he still found a way to make it weird. He still found a way to make it convoluted with the different time frames, which ultimately makes sense and works out in the movie's favor. But for the first hour, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I was like, what are these times? What are we doing? What is happening?
I think it's kind of brilliant, though.
No, it comes together. It works perfectly for what that movie's trying to be. But it's just of course, Christopher Nolan couldn't just make a linear movie, right? He had to make a movie with 3 different storylines that take place at 3 different times. Of course,
I mean, I don't know. I think Christopher Nolan, I agree with a lot of what you said, Landon, but I think he's kind of a revolutionary filmmaker, and the way that he kind of reinvigorated franchise filmmaking. And before kind of the Dark Knight trilogy, we didn't really have any superhero films kind of test the boundaries of what they could be in terms of scale and scope. The Batman movies were to They had so many practical effects, so many kind of moving pieces that were kind of function all in the one, that we've kind of known him to be all this kind of traces of filmmaking. We kind of saw them in Batman first. And outside of those films too, a lot of people don't realize, but he made movies in between the Batman trilogy. He made The Prestige, Inception, and kind of the wherewithal and the kind of skill of the filmmaker to kind of like switch back and forth between doing like a trilogy, like a franchise trilogy, and like your own thing. I mean, that's pretty hard, I feel like. And I think that he deserves a lot of credit for that, honestly. And he doesn't make bad movies. I mean, it's Interstellar. I don't know, but he doesn't make like terrible.
I said he makes mids. I said he makes mids.
Yeah. They're very serviceable movies that have a lot of interesting things going on, but I feel like there isn't a lot going on beneath the surface a lot of the time, you know? Like they're visually impressive. They're a lot of times they're sort of feats of film production just in general, you know? But then once you try to look below the layers at like the themes and ideas and metaphors and concepts, I feel like it's pretty basic and pretty light most of the time.
I think Nolan and Tarantino are the only directors who I've seen every movie from, like that have like an expansive filmography or something like that. I think.
You mean you never seen Vice by Adam McKay?
I have seen Vice.
Big
Yeah.
Short?
Yes.
So you ever seen Talladega Nights, Ballad of Ricky Bobby? You've seen all of Adam McKay's movies. Boom. Roast.
Have you seen The Big Short?
Of directors with 10 or more movies, I guess.
Quentin Tarantino doesn't have 10 or more.
Yeah, he does, if you include Death Proof and separate Kill Bill. But I don't know. There's something about all of Nolan's movies that I like. It's been probably at least a year since I've seen any of them, so that probably doesn't help my recollection at all. But I mean, I'm looking forward to Tenet. I still haven't watched the trailer because I've been super forgetful during all this, I guess. But I don't know. I'm excited for it, but I haven't watched the trailer, so that might change.
I mean, I'll say this: I'm not going to rush out to the theater if it's dangerous to go outside. You know.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm not going anywhere. So.
Also, another piece of news too: the Venice Film Festival. They released kind of some news earlier today, or earlier this week. I think it was yesterday. They said the plan is to like kind of keep on schedule for September for the Venice Film Festival. What do you think about that?
Not happening.
Cut it, bro. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Get it over with, you know?
I mean, like, all right. I don't know. Like, I don't think they should. There's no way they should not do it. But I think because Venice is probably the most stubborn festival out of all of the ones. Like they have these very, very kind of traditional ideals. Like we saw last year, they gave Roman Polanski the best like director award. They have these ideals that like film surmounts all in terms of like importance, which is like, I mean, film is an amazing kind of tool and amazing like kind of like invention, but at the same time, people's safety kind of paramounts that. But like they have like the kind of idea in their mind that like their film festival is kind of like the turning, like kind of like the biggest factor in terms of like marketing and the festival circuit. Like it's the most important festival. I feel like it starts the Oscar season, honestly. And if like the Venice Film Festival is canceled, I think the Oscars at that point will be canceled as well because like most of and so I think the importance to award season, they're like, okay, like if we cancel, then all the rest of the year in film is like going to be over with.
I mean, your competition this year, you got Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It can run again. You know, it's going to win. It's going to sweep the awards.
Be the only film nominated Bad Boys for Life.
I'm sorry.
And Harley Quinn.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be Portrait of a Lady, Birds of Prey, Bad Boys for Life,
and Underwater. You never know.
Underwater it's gonna get like special effects, editing.
Trolls World Tour.
Best picture, Trolls World Tour.
Best animated feature, best picture.
Actor for Justin Timberlake.
Best animated short, best documentary short, best documentary, Trolls 2 World Tour.
Who knew?
But speaking about festivals, we're supposed to get the YouTube One World Festival or whatever it's called in like 3 or 4 days now.
Oh, really?
We still don't have a lineup.
I know, like that is very, very weird. I was thinking about that. I was like, wait.
I mean, that sounds like Google. That sounds like something Google would do. Would just be like, yeah, man, it's coming up, day of. Oh, that's coming up? I forgot. Like, oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I think it's canceled. I think it's YouTube One World or something like that.
There's One World. That's not what it is.
Yeah, there's...
We were going to do it, and then we found out it costs money.
Yeah,
When
it's
does
not
he miss the
happening.
movies?
Oh yeah, We Are One.
We are one. Yeah.
Where are the children?
We are the one.
Oh,
No, but back to the Tenet trailer. I did want to say one thing while you're researching that, Brandon.
Yeah.
I wanted to say the trailers have not wowed me. I don't know. It just doesn't seem that interesting to me. Like, the time reverse.
but
You
I
see that flip. It flip back
but
and drive.
but I think what's impressive about it is like kind of like with Inception, where like what made Inception impressive was like the amount of coordination that happened with it, like how you have the scene of Joseph Gordon-Levitt having that like fight scene in the spinning hallway. It's like that scene's impressive because they were actually in a spinning room on a set that was like literally spinning around. They had to do that. So I think with Tenet, it's going to be impressive. It's like, we did most of the action scenes backwards, or we had to coordinate how we filmed everything so it made sense in this timeline. And I don't know if I think it's like I always forget the main actor's name. It's John David Washington, right? Okay. So
I think so, yeah.
I believe he had a comment where he's like, this is going to determine the next 10 to 15 years of film. And it's like, I don't know if that's true. Like if it happens, great, I'm here for it. But I don't believe this is going to be like a Dark Knight. I don't believe it's going to be that influential. I don't believe it's going to have that much of a smash.
Well, that kind of sounds like what people were saying about like Inception when they came out. And yeah, Inception's impressive on some levels, but it didn't really shape anything that I know of.
Did you see the runtime for it? What it's supposed to be?
No.
3 hours and 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
don't.
No! This is Marvel's fault. Marvel got a 3-hour movie to be successful, and everyone's like, maybe we don't need as many showtimes anymore. Maybe we just. Although, okay, hear me out though. What if we bring back like epic level filmmaking, like from the 60s and 50s?
Like Cinescope? Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
But that's not gonna happen.
But like,
you're gonna get 3 hour long that aren't like that artistically centered.
You don't want to see Grown Ups 3? That's 3 hours long.
3 hour long cut. Oh, also, sorry. I said the 3 hour long cut of Hobbs and Shaw and Cinescope with the screen is like concave, Hobbs and Shaw, when like The Rock is like pulling the
airplane, the helicopter
on like the right side of the screen, and The Rock is like on the other side. You can see his whole bicep, whole forearm.
His biceps stretches across the screen. He looks like a Stretch Armstrong, man.
Wait, you guys aren't excited for Grown Ups 3 and it's 3 hours?
Oh God.
In CinemaScope.
Hey man, Adam's above that, okay? He's past that.
So wait, I want to still talk about one more thing too. But are you guys on Tenet? Do you have anything else to say about it?
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay. Also, last thing, Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
I'm so. Oh my God, I hate it. Okay,
DC fans make me want to leave the internet.
So
one of the most toxic groups on Twitter.
That's why I hate it. Because this is like what happened with Mass Effect 3 and getting the ending changed, right? Is a bunch of people got really mad because they didn't get what they wanted, right? Because they got a bad movie. And instead of just accepting it's a bad movie, they're like, no, there has to be something else. There's no way this is the movie. Like, there has to be something else. And then all these fucking executives and actors and people were like, there's a Zack Snyder cut of the movie. Like, it's a real thing.
Well,
that's the
like no, because there's no cut it off. They were like, oh, there's got to be more. They gave him $20 million to shoot more of the movie.
Yes,
it's not like the movie's dark enough.
He's been saying for years that the Snyder Cut exists. He's been saying for years the Snyder Cut exists. And the funniest thing about the situation, the Snyder Cut doesn't fucking exist.
Okay.
He's pulling shit out of his ass, and he's like, "Oh, I got enough people to support me, give me $30 million on top of the movie that was one of the most expensive movies ever made. And fuck it. Make it a 6-hour-long movie. I don't give a fuck. I'm
They'll
Zach.
eat that up.
Well, no, they're saying it's gonna be a 10-part series. It could be a 10-part series.
That's a rumor. That's not confirmed. All right.
It's a rumor though.
But here's my okay. So do y'all know the YouTuber Folding Ideas?
No.
He did a really famous video on the editing and Suicide Squad and why it's so terrible. He's a really interesting YouTuber, and he made a video about the Snyder Cut like a few months ago. Like, it's basically about how it doesn't exist, at least in the way we think it does, which is like kind of confirmed by the fact that it's getting $20 million to get made. Like in the video, he's literally like, okay, whatever you think the Snyder Cut is, it's probably just a bunch of like storyboards and like pages of a script, and it's an idea that was never fully done, right? So if we were to get the Snyder Cut released, it would be some like put together like homemade bullshit, unless they gave him a lot of money, which wouldn't happen.
Well,
And then it fucking happened.
it's not like the movie's not dark enough already. Zack Snyder's movies are notoriously hard to watch, so Justice
But, like,
League's
it's
already
just a bad movie.
I
Like
mean,
it-
that
it-
too. Justice League is terrible.
it's not a bad movie because Joss Whedon took it over. It's a bad movie because it's trying to be the culmination of 3 movies. You know,
Yeah.
like there's
I
no
remember
build
when
up to it, and it's acting like you fucking care, but they still have to introduce like 3 characters in a
Well, and
2-hour movie.
movie leading up to it other than like Wonder Woman was good at like
Right.
I hate Man of Steel. I hate Batman v Superman. I'm probably
Man of Steel is the best out of them all.
Yeah, it's
I
yeah.
thought Wonder Woman was fine, but I don't care about Flash. I don't care about Cyborg. I don't care about Aquaman hadn't even come out yet. Aquaman was fine, but I don't care. I remember when I saw Justice League, some dude came in like 30 minutes into the movie and just sat there. And like, what? You just missed the first. It's not like you missed anything, but still.
Right.
The only way the Snyder Cut is going to be worth all of our time is if we get an episode dedicated to Wonder Woman's beginnings and the IDF killing children.
I was hoping you were gonna go more towards referencing Zack Snyder's best movie, Legend of the Guardians: The Owls of Ga'Hoole,
That too.
and then it ties into it's a shared universe,
Well,
right?
the owls all give them their powers, so
Well, no, the owls help.
What if Zack Snyder's cut ends with Darkseid shows up, and then you just see an owl swoop down and just fucks one of Darkseid's eyes out, and then fires his laser eye back out and just kills him. And then
And they're like,
what
"Thanks,
the fuck?"
Guardian."
just credits roll.
Credits roll.
Oh my god! Well, I honestly think Zack Snyder's best movie is Man of Steel, and I feel like not a lot of people give it enough credit.
It's better.
I just watched it.
It's 2 invincible people punching each other for like 2 hours.
That's the argument people have been saying for years, and that's
Yes.
it's
the
not
last 30
true, Adam.
It's the last 30 minutes. The rest, like the first like hour, is actually pretty good.
The first hour is fine, but like it feels like it's such a long movie, and it doesn't need to be that long.
How long is it?
It's about 2.5 hours.
I think the whole fight at the end is such a great way to show the moral conundrums of Superman and actually make Superman an interesting character instead of making him.
The thing is, though, they didn't plan on doing that, though. That was just like, oh, we're gonna show a really cool fight where Superman does Zod fuck some shit up. Like they didn't plan on the whole thing Batman vs Superman. They were just like,
I thought Zod was good. Michael Shannon plays crazy well.
Okay, but nothing's gonna
But
top
other
Michael
than-
Shannon in Premium Rush. Okay,
is that
that's
the
his
Joseph
best
Gordon-Levitt
role.
bike movie?
Sorry.
Is that the Joseph Gordon-Levitt bike movie?
Yes.
Like,
Okay. Spoilers for Premium Rush. All right. Michael Shannon
Blockbuster Premium Rush.
throughout that entire movie, right? He's just completely insane. And the end of the movie, he like gets the flash drive or whatever. He's like, all right, he's literally in like a tiny alleyway, and he's like, I'm gonna go into the building I have to get into. He's like 6 feet away from the building, if that. He's right there. And the way they stop him is they get 2 lines of bikers of like multiple people to go like in between him. So it's like here he is, right? Here's one line, here's the other, and they just shove him. They just keep shoving him. He's like, stop, no, do it. Like he's just like growling and getting more and more upset until one of them happens to take the flash drive and get away, and they save the day, and then the cops get him.
So they annoy him and accidentally somehow get the flash drive.
It's not, no, it's on purpose. This was the plan. I don't know, this was the plan. This is the plan they came up with, is to just shove him a lot until he stops.
Just mildly annoy him until they get.
Premium Rush is a great movie. I will. That's a very underrated, very fun movie. I stand by that.
I've never seen it, but my parents rave about it all the time.
It's very stupid, but it's very fun. Like Joseph Gordon-Levitt has Google Maps in his brain, basically. Not actually, but like that's how his brain works. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Jesus. But sorry to cut off the conversation, but like back to like Zack Snyder. I think the worst thing that's coming out of this is the whole idea of directors making shitty movies and then being like, that's not my actual cut. I'm going to make a better version of my movie now. Because now we have David Ayer's like, Suicide Squad isn't a movie. I have the Ayer cut done. Let's rally behind this movie. But like interviews of David Ayer stating that the final cut of Suicide Squad is the cut that he wanted. There's multiple interviews of him saying that.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to pretend like he didn't make a shitty movie and it's the studio's fault, even though he's the one that greenlighted the whole thing.
Well, that's not this. Like, I agree with you on that. But that's not to say that, like, because there are cuts of films where studios do fuck up a lot of films. Like, that is true. Studios do
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, but with DC, the whole conception that like, oh, the studio always fucks up the film is like really untrue, because they give a lot of the directors a lot of leeway. They give them so much leeway with their films, especially Zack Snyder and David Ayer, because like when you think about it, they were like because like I remember like hearing that like Zack Snyder was like a huge part of the final cut of Man of Steel. He cut together a lot of the film, and like it's really divisive. Everyone feels differently about the film, but like it happened with Batman and Superman, like the Ultimate Edition or whatever. They released it on DVD or like on Blu-ray. They gave it like an extra like 30, 40 minutes, and everyone's like, and people are gonna say, because when the Snyder Cut gets released, everyone's going to be like, oh, this is a much better film. This is so great. Like, they did with, like, the Ultimate Edition of Batman or Superman, but it's still a piece of shit.
Like, it fixes everything.
I've seen the Ultimate Edition.
I have too, and it's terrible. It's still bad.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So
it's 3 hours of extra material that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, if this Snyder Cut gets critical praise, or it makes kind of money. I don't know if it's going to make a lot of money because it's on HBO Max, but if it gets a lot of streams, you know Zack Snyder is going to try to continue this whole like DCEU, and like I think the DC universe is going in a right direction right now, where they're just
because like
do their own thing.
And I was gonna say,
now they're like,
well, I was gonna mention earlier, like what's so fascinating about the DC universe now is how unconnected it is.
mm-hmm.
How like every movie is just kind of whatever the hell it wants to be. Like, you know, Aquaman is I still haven't seen it, but from what I understand, it is just like your big blockbuster movie, but it's very goofy. It's very like ridiculous. Shazam is like an 80s kids movie that's like terrifying sometimes, and it's great. Birds of Prey is like Deadpool done well. Like it's like really, really good. I love Birds of Prey. I'm a big fan of it. You know, I just think DC is on the right track, and I think that if they keep up with that, rather than forcing this connection between all of their movies, because I think what would be nice is if they just like do whatever and then have little winks and nods and little references here and there, rather than leading up to a Justice League 2 or something, you know? Because we already have that. We already have Marvel. They're already doing it. So rather than trying to best that, which has been going on for over 10 years now, do your own thing. Figure out your own thing you want to do, you know?
You know the Snyder Cut's gonna end with a cliffhanger, right? Ending.
Yep.
So you want people to like be like, "Oh, we need Justice League too." You know it's gonna happen. You know it is. It's just so infuriating.
Yep.
I
Wait,
mean,
But I'm gonna watch it.
but
Isn't Henry Cavill not
already
coming?
does end with a cliffhanger.
Huh?
Isn't
Justice
Hen-
League.
oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
No, Brandon, go. You were first.
Okay, I just wanted to like, isn't Henry Cavill not coming back though?
No, Henry Cavill's buddy with Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I know he is, but like, didn't he say he wanted to like exit the role of Superman though?
He's too busy being Geralt.
No.
Geralt, yeah.
He-
Geralt of Rivia, dude.
He like dispelled those rumors by like posting this video on Instagram of him holding like a Superman action figure, and he was like, "I'm not leaving" or something like that. Because there were
I'm not
rumors
going
that.
anywhere.
What are you doing, Adam?
Why is Total Recall your background?
We'll get to that.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh my God. Do you have a slideshow for us?
No, I don't actually.
Here's my favorite Arnold from each film he's been in. My favorite Arnold face. But the thing I was gonna say, this is sort of barely on topic, but Justice League does end with a cliffhanger. For like their version of Thanos, whatever the DC version of Thanos is. I forget what it's called.
Steppenwolf.
Sorry?
Steppenwolf. Oh, Dark Side.
Sorry?
Steppenwolf, like, yeah, Steppenwolf is like the villain.
Yeah.
Right. And so it ends with whatever their big villain's gonna be, and he's like, "Oh, they're so powerful. Maybe I should kill them." And then it ends. And when I saw it in theater, some guy was like, "Yeah!" And I was like, "Please stop."
No, it's Lex Luthor, isn't it? With like Deathstroke or something like that.
Oh yeah.
They're on a boat or something. Yeah.
There is like a
They're on a boat.
Why do I remember that? Jesus.
No, I don't remember Darkseid. I do remember it's like Deathstroke on a boat, and he's like riding on the boat. He gets on the boat, and he's like
flopping in the wind.
And he's like, yeah, and he's like, we're gonna create a league of our own.
He's like,
And then it's like, okay.
Facebook?
He's like, yeah, you want to?
You wanna make Facebook, dude?
Andrew Garfield's like Andrew Garfield's actually Deathstroke. He takes his mask off. He's like, I'm not coming back for 2%. I'm coming back for everything.
Oh my God.
Mask back on. He just jumps off the boat.
Shoots a web to Spider-Man. It's the next Spider-Man movie. Oh my God. Okay, so if there's no more news, do you want to get into what we've been watching?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So if no one has any objections, I'll start since I started talking.
I'll object, Sam.
Oh
No, you
God.
can go ahead.
Oh
You can
no.
go
Phoenix, right. Don't do this to me. Okay, so I didn't watch a lot this week, but I got a lot to say about what I watched. So, started my week off pretty light, pretty fun. I watched Lolita, the Stanley Kubrick adaptation of the classic novel. So I'm gonna try to tread lightly on this topic. I read Lolita for my college class, and I enjoyed the experience of reading it. I'm not sure, yeah, because it's a fascinating book, and it's very well written, and it's like all about like how manipulative the author, like the narrator who is a pedophile is. Like it's all about how like good they are at like conveying the idea they're not a bad person until they do the horrible thing, and then you're forced to stick with this character for like another 200 pages about how horrible they are. And then it's a whole fascinating thing to investigate. And I'd never seen the Stanley Kubrick movie, and I was like, oh, I should watch it. Like this is probably going to be good. It's pretty good. I think it's very well done. The script was written by the original author of the novel, but apparently changed it a lot before like once they started filming. And I think the movie loses a lot of the impact that the book had. I don't know. I don't know if it's from like censorship or if it's just like not as focused. I don't know. I just feel like at the end, I didn't really get like a point. I was like, okay, this is a well-made movie. It's well acted. Like everything's good about it. I just don't know if I fully understand why it was made or what it's trying to say. beyond pedophiles are bad. It's like, yeah, I get that. I didn't need 2.5 hours to figure that out. But I think it's very well made. Like the editing is really good. The cinematography is really great. You know, it's a Kubrick movie. Not crazy about Peter Sellers in it. I think this is like Kubrick letting Peter Sellers do too much, because Peter Sellers plays like the antagonist of the film. And a lot of it, like the opening scene, is a great idea for an opening scene, and it's kind of ruined by Peter Sellers just like ad-libbing for like 10 minutes about like ping pong or something. I don't know. And but overall, it's a good movie, and I think it's well made. Not as good as the book, but like still, you know, it's great to see where like Kubrick started in a sense, or like before he started getting into like Clockwork Orange and a lot more extreme and experimental films, you know. But that was really good. Speaking of experimental films, I watched House, the 1977 Japanese horror film, Hausu, which this is not my first time seeing it. This is probably my 10th time seeing it, if we're going to be honest. I watch it a lot. And it's still an amazing movie. I adore that movie with all of my heart. No matter how crazy and stupid and weird it is, there is nothing like it. And I find it difficult to describe it, because it has this like very young, very fast-paced feeling to it. Like I have the criterion for it, and they have an interview with Ty West where he talks about it, and he describes it as like the movie is like from the perspective of a child, in the sense that like the tonal shifts are like how fast a child's brain moves when they're like changing their focus to something. So it's like at 1 minute it's like scary and and 1 minute it's a comedy, and 1 minute it's like a musical, and then it's a kung fu movie, and then it's a ghost story, and then it's like horrific, and then it's sad, and it's just everything at once, and it just never stops. It just keeps moving and going and going, and you're either on board or you're left behind very quick. You're either on board in the first 5 minutes or you will never catch that train ever again, because the movie is on a completely different wavelength. I will just say the best scene in the movie is when a girl gets eaten by a piano, and it's not gruesome, it's not horrific, it's art. It's just the most beautiful thing I've seen put to film in the most ridiculous way possible. Has anybody seen House? Has anybody watched it here?
I've watched clips, and I watched like the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when
I've heard of it.
like
You saw clips of it.
I've seen the piano.
High school.
Okay, I might have to recommend that then. That might be a Sam pick, because I love this movie, and I think it's just kind of a masterpiece of like experimental filmmaking, and just like throwing the kitchen sink on the screen and seeing what happens, like just everything. It's so good. Then I watched Popstar, but we'll all talk about that. And then I watched The Night of the Hunter, the Robert Mitchum starring film, directed by Charles Lawton, I want to say his name is. Incredible film. Has anybody here seen Night of the Hunter?
I've seen a Mitchum film. I haven't seen that one though.
So The Night of the Hunter is I'm not sure how, like, the best way to describe it might be like the way I always think about it is like a universal monster movie mixed with a grim fairy tale, where the plot is about this like, it's like takes place during the Depression era in the American South, and this father robs a bank and hides the money with his kids, goes to jail, and in jail he meets this preacher played by Robert Mitchum, who is a serial killer, and he like kills because he thinks God is telling him to do it. And so the killer hears about the money from the father. The father gets the death sentence and is killed. And so Robert Mitchum gets out of jail, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go find that wife, that widow, and I'm gonna get in with this family and get this money. And the movie is from the perspective of the children, and it has like a child's view on like a lot of things. And the way it's shot is very exaggerated, very like German expressionist, a lot of shadows, a lot of like I don't know, like large rooms or environment shot from like far away. Robert Mitchum is incredible. He is so good as the preacher because he is very like charismatic, and you get why people are drawn to him. But then when he has to make that turn to a dark, messed up person, he completely sells it. The kids are really good. There's just so many great shots, and the way the film is told and the way it goes about telling its story. And it kind of is about like the struggle between good and evil, and like the power and like resilience of children, and how we don't really give them enough credit for how like powerful they can be. I don't know. It's just an incredible film. It's one of my favorite criterions that I have. It's just such an amazing movie. I really, really recommend it. It's so good. And it just
I might check it out.
so one of the reasons I compare it to a Universal monster movie is I always think of Robert Mitchum as like a monster, almost like a Frankenstein's monster. And there's this one shot that's always stuck with me in the film where like he's like brought the kids to the basement of the house because he thinks the money's down there, and they like somehow like knock some pots on his head, and they're running up the steps, and he's chasing after them, and they have this like profile like side shot of the stairs and the kids running up it, and they have Robert Mitchum, and he has his arms out like this, like he's like coming after them, and it reminds me of like a monster like attacking someone, like a creature, just like he's making this weird like growling roar sound. I don't know. It's crazy. It's such a good movie though. It's so good. And then the last movie I watched, I actually watched a few hours ago, and I have some thoughts on it. I watched Mikhail Haneke's Funny Games, the original from 1997. And I think I hate it. Yeah.
I
Cause
disagree.
so I do want to have this conversation. I'll just explain my thoughts before, where like, so watching it, I kept getting the same vibe that I got from Climax, where like Climax is a movie that is very well shot, very well acted, is a technical feat, is a technical marvel, but it isn't, but like what it's about and what it's saying is very basic and does not like make up for the horrific things that it's showing, at least for me. It just kind of is an hour and a half of watching people suffer, and then the movie ends and you're like, what was the point? And Gaspar Noé is like, deep down we're all animals, man. And you're like, yeah, I thought that too when I was 13. What else you got? Man, you strip away all of society, man. We're just gonna kill each other. Okay, got it. I've seen it before. All right, you're not adding anything new to the pile. And with Funny Games, the problem I have with it is like okay. So first of all, it is an extremely well made film. The cinematography is great. The editing's great. The performances are great. The way it builds tension is so good. There's so many great moments of tension and of like just like getting you invested in the film. But I think the problem is like the tone. And a lot of this is informed by an interview I watched with Mikhail Haneke, which he did in like 2017 about the film. And I just get this vibe where Mikhail Haneke thinks he's better than you. And he's using this movie to show you how stupid you are when you watch movies. Like, I feel like it's him pointing and laughing at you, like, because you got invested in a movie. Because the way he like talks about it is he's like, I have the scenes where the characters like break the fourth wall and it just blows people's minds. They're just so surprised. And then I immediately bring them back in and they're invested again. I've told them what the movie is, but they still buy into it. Like, there's just this vibe that I get of like, he thinks he's so much better than you. And so then he made a movie to like fuck with you and to be like, yeah, this is sick, isn't it? But you watched until the end. That means you're a sicko that likes horror movies. Like, this is what media does to people. This is what a movie is. And you didn't like it, you're a hypocrite. And it's like literally one of the things he says in the interview is like, yeah, there were people that said they were appalled with the movie, yet they watched the whole thing. I think they're hypocrites. And I'm like, I was appalled and I watched it because I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, I wanted to like your movie. And then at the end, you just told me that I was dumb for wanting to give your movie a chance and that I suck and you hate me. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't get why, like, I understand what it's going for. I just don't I think there's a better way of going about it. And I appreciate what it's doing. And there's a lot of great things about it. But just at the end of it, I didn't feel like I gained anything. I didn't feel like I learned anything. I was just kind of left with a feeling of like, man, I just kind of got trolled for 2 hours. Like, someone just made a movie to fuck with me for 2 hours and not really teach me anything. They just, they just did it because they thought they could. And then, I don't know, man. What are y'all's thoughts? I'm very interested.
I think Funny Games is a masterpiece. One, because I believe Michael Haneke, he is making fun of the audience. I believe he's making fun of the American audiences just in general, about how they kind of fetishize violence until it becomes too real and then they're disgusted by it. And I believe that's what he's trying to make with the movie. And because during the time that this movie was released, it was just like, what year did this come out? It was like
97.
97, yeah.
97. Yeah, it was like right after all of those like 80s action films and like the beginning of like 90s action films and things like that, where it's just like senseless violence, where people just like cheer on these like heroes for like killing all of these not millions, like thousands of people. Kind of like Uncharted, how we were talking about that the other night, where it's just senseless violence, where it just keeps happening over and over again. And nobody actually kind of takes a moment to be like, oh, like this person is committing these heinous actions against your fellow man and other people. And I believe why Funny Games is so great is because Haneke is he's kind of putting you alongside the killers and showing how much pleasure they get out of it by doing that. He's kind of pointing at you and being like, you kind of are like these people that are looking at you and saying like, ha ha ha, look at what we just did. We're killing these people. It's that kind of thing that I think he's trying to say. I think he's trying to say, we laugh the way that the home invaders laugh at their subjects when we see these kind of movies. That's just my point of view. And that's why I think it's brilliant.
I think the most interesting thing about, sorry, Sam, go ahead.
No, Brandon, go. I'm about to have my own perspective, but I want to hear yours first.
I agree with like everything Landon said. I think the film's great. I don't know if it's a masterpiece. I don't think it's like perfect. But I think that it's really, really, it's a lot more like thoughtful than I think a lot of people really give it credit for. In terms of, because like it's one of the first kind of films kind of not break the fourth wall, but like show the audience like a reflection of themselves in the way that's kind of like criticizing an audience for like watching films like these or like Funny Games and like kind of fetishizing it. But I think the most like interesting thing about it is the remake.
Yeah, and the remake's even better.
The remake's even better. But like what he's saying about the film industry and about these films by making it is like so interesting and so like, because the Funny Games by itself, it's a great film and like I really admire it and everything. But with that remake, he's diving into a whole other box of worms where it's like, ooh, all right, how many people who really like, hated this like first film and like despise it and said all this shit about it are gonna come and see the second film, an exact shot remake of this film? How many of you fuckers are gonna go see it again, huh? And it's like so interesting. I think Michael Haneke's a genius. And like if you've seen like a lot of his other work, have you seen him more, Sam?
So I at this point I've seen 3 of his films. This is another point I was gonna make. I've seen 3 of his movies. I've seen Funny Games. I've seen Amore. I've seen Code Unknown. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them so far. Yeah. I think I need to rewatch Amore because I watched it when it came out. And I was like in 9th grade. And all I remember is like being bored and feeling awful. But like, again, giving it the benefit of the doubt because maybe it goes somewhere. And then it ends with a 10-minute scene of him trying to throw a coat on a bird.
Oh my God. It's a masterpiece. I think that's a masterpiece.
I think a more
I've only
I
seen
think it's unbearable as a 2-hour movie.
I've only seen both Funny Games from Haneke.
Wait, so what's unbearable in the film, Sam?
I think Amore works as a short film more than as a feature-length film. Because again, I understand what he's going for, right? I understand the point is that you experience how horrible this is, right?
Real
Like you experience how terrible it is to watch a loved one, go through this experience, right? I don't need 2 hours. You can do that in 30 minutes really, really well. I think making it a 2-hour movie, just like, I don't know, it really bothers me. And again, that's why I want to watch it, because so many people still love it. Like maybe I'll have a different perspective on it. That's just how I remember feeling.
I watched it last year, and I still think it slapped. I saw it in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it like a few years after that, and I saw it last year, and I still think it slaps, Sam. Like, I think it's fantastic. I think it's fucking masterpiece. Like, it's so good. And, like, I think it's his most nuanced and his most subtle work, and I feel like it's such a departure from all the stuff he's done in his past. That's what makes him such an interesting filmmaker, because he can make so many different films that cover so many different genres and, like, topics, but he keeps, like, a really, really great kind of core to all his films, which is, like, this really kind of stories about, like, people and like their reactions to certain things in life. I think he's kind of a humanist, honestly. I think he's like genius. But yeah, back to Funny Games. I think the remake like is what makes Funny Games so interesting.
And well,
yeah, it's so much better too, because now the audience that he's making fun of can actually sit down and watch it, because he's basically kind of making fun of the audience for not watching foreign films at the same time.
Yeah.
Like they'll hear all the praise about a movie overseas, and then as soon as we get an American remake, they'll go watch it. And now it's the people that it's directed towards are going into the theater expecting a horror movie, but instead they get a movie that's making fun of them. It's genius. It's so smart. It's so smart.
So
I love him. I love him.
So in the interview that I watched, he talks about the remake, right? And one thing he says is like, he talks about how when the movie first came out, it kind of became like a cult hit in America. It was like an underground thing. And he was like, so when I made the original Funny Games, I meant it as like a Trojan horse. Like I meant to just like put it in theaters, get people in, and then like talk shit to them. And then he's like, so then I thought, how else do I get it to America? I fucking remake it in English with American people. Like, yeah, let's go. And then he's like, but then people already knew the joke. They already knew it was a Trojan horse, so no one saw it. Like no one to see it because they already knew what it was. They're like, I couldn't get away with it twice, basically. And so what I will say is I think I understand that this whole movie is meant to be a criticism of like people that like glorify violence and like are like the main characters. Two things. One, I think I read it more as the main characters are like directors, or like the killers are like directors, where like they have control over the narrative and they are trying to create something that's messed up and something that's really terrible. And that's why I think they're breaking the fourth wall with the audience, is to be like, hey, this is what you want, right? Like this is what you asked us for, like this is how these type of things work, right? But I think my problem with that, and with kind of honestly with kind of the way you guys have been talking about it, is it feels very elitist. It feels very it feels like your mom wagging your finger at you, right? Like being like, you like this? Like this is gross. How could you like that? But like rather than like it feels like your mom trying to make a rap song to tell you to stop listening to rap, Like it just feels like it just feels so like elitist and so like pulling the rug from under you to point and laugh at you because you thought you were going to see a movie, but instead you're seeing like, you know what? This reminds me of the dude that when Twilight New Moon was coming out and he bought out the theater just so he could so he bought out a theater, told everyone there'd be an advanced screening for New Moon, and then packed the theater. And then he came out and was like, yo, y'all are stupid for going to see this movie. And then just like made fun of them for 10 minutes and took their money and they left. Like, that's what I think Funny Games is, and I don't like that. I think that's so mean and so unnecessary. You know, you can criticize. These are things worth criticizing. I just think it's so like elitist. It's so just like thinking you're better than everybody and thinking that you have the upper hand, or like, you know, you like Mikhail Haneke thinks he's above that. And so he's like, okay, well, I can't just make a thriller. I have to make a thriller that makes fun of you for liking thrillers or like liking horror films. And it's just like, and I think, honestly, I think if you took out the fourth wall breaking, the movie would work more, in my opinion. I think if you took out the, like, it's funny because that's like what the movie is. Like the movie is the fourth wall breaks. That's like what gives it its like status and its power. But I think if you take those out, it makes it, for me, it makes it a more effective like indictment of that type of behavior and of that type of film. You know, the film just plays out the exact same. The characters just like the one guy just doesn't talk to the audience. I think you have an equally, if not more effective film that doesn't feel like it thinks you're a terrible person.
I'm all right. So Sam, I agree with you in the sense that it's like it does feel like it's talking down to the audience, and like I'm not saying I agree with that kind of sentiment he's saying, but at the same time, like I am respecting like Michael Haneke's ability as a filmmaker, because like we said it like last week, I forget what the film was, but like Funny Games is kind of like the first of its kind, because a lot of films now, we talked about Deadpool last week. It's kind of, did I just compare Funny Games to Deadpool?
It's nothing like Deadpool.
Yeah, no, I know it's not. I know it's not. Like, you can mute me, man, if you want to, but like, all I'm saying is that like it's kind of like the first, because a lot of people give Deadpool. All right, I'm just gonna stop saying Deadpool. I'm just like abandon that.
Just stop.
I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna say we give Funny Games credit because it's kind of like the first of its kind, and like I think that's really revolutionary in the way that it's like kind of links the audience to the story being told on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not saying I agree with Michael Haneke's sentiments, but I mean, I understand where he's coming from. Not, again, I understand it, but I'm not saying I agree with it. I understand where he's coming from because, like, before the film, he made like a lot of really great films, a lot of really successful films critically, but they were all flops. And like, I think only one of them got to America, and like no one really saw it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's easy to understand why he would feel that way, because like he's putting so much like work and so much like kind of thought and nuance into his art, and it's not getting perceived the way he wants it to be. And so his reaction to it is to make a piece of art that's kind of so self-referential and so kind of damning to the audience that he kind of feels it's kind of like therapy. It's hit therapy for him, honestly, I feel like. And like that's, I mean, and like it gets that thing where it's like subjectivity and like objectivity with art and like how we perceive it and like how kind of and art is really like correct. And like I don't know, I don't really think that judging in that way. I think it's fair, but I don't know. Like
Go ahead, Landon.
What?
I was just saying. I don't know. I feel like he's the only audience he's making fun of is the American audience.
He's not though. He literally like he in the interview. He's in the interview. He's not saying, oh, those dumb Americans. He's like people, like, you know, just general people that watch movies. He doesn't mean Americans. He just means people that watch like these types of movies, whoever they are, whatever country they are, whatever background they are. You know, this isn't like dumb Americans. This is dumb moviegoers.
I don't know. I think the idea of him making an American remake is enough to tell you that he did this to direct it directly at American audience members.
I think the remake is. I don't think the original is.
I think they go hand in hand, though. Honestly.
Well, no, I think the original was meant to like it was like a controversial and like well-known film in Europe, as far as I'm aware. Then it didn't really make it to America. So then he's like, okay, America, here's your turn, you know. And I think that like I want to specify that like what I dislike about Funny Games is the tone, I guess, or like the intention it seems to have towards breaking the fourth wall and including the audience, right? Where it's including them just to like, you know, just to like make fun of them. But I think it is an extremely well-made film, and I think it is a very unique film, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell people not to watch it. It is a very fascinating movie that is like a genuinely well-made film, right? Like the whole sequence, I don't want to spoil it, but like the whole sequence after that one death, right? I don't want to say which one, but there's a death, and it's just this 10-minute long take of just like the after effects of that death, right, is incredible, and it's so well done. And like why I think the movie worked better without the fourth wall breaking is the second half of the film, where it is focused so much more on the family and like the fallout of what's happened, almost, where it really subverts how a lot of thriller and horror movies go, you know, and is showing like, hey, here is the effects of what happens, you know, like it, like, you know, this isn't someone directly pointing at you and going, see, this is messed up. It's just showing it. It's just presenting it to you and letting you make your own take, you know? And for me, I prefer that, but I still think it's a movie worth admiring and discussing and like bringing up. And I think Michael Haneke, even if I don't like his movies, he's still a great filmmaker. Like, I still really admire him on a technical level, right? I just don't like any of his movies that I've seen so far. That's just my main thing. I don't want to make it seem like it's a poorly made film. It's extremely well made film, and it has a very specific intention, and it accomplishes that. But I hate the intention, and I think it's so, I don't know. I think the intention is so misguided and so mean spirited that it's not worth it. I don't know. That's me. But I also don't think you guys are wrong. I think you guys have very clear points, and like, I just think, I think we both are on this. I think we all are on the same page. We're just looking at it we just take it different ways, I think. You know.
Brandon, you can go if you want.
Thank you. Oh God.
Brandon brought up.
Sorry.
Oh.
No,
Go.
I ripped my pants.
Oh no.
Wait, so what are you saying? All right, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Brandon brought up a good point earlier about Deadpool, and I think a really good double feature would be Deadpool and then Funny Games, because Funny Games is making fun of Deadpool before Deadpool came out.
I see that. No, I totally see that. But I think, like, I guess, I think you are right about that, and I think that is fair. But I guess for me, it's just like, again, it really is just the intentionality. It's just the tone that bothers me. Like, again, cut out the fourth wall breaks. You cut out the filmmaker looking at you and pointing at you and being like, you're bad. You like violence in your films. Like, then I think it's a much more bearable movie that's worth even more watching. I don't know. I just feel like, and I think this is purely a personal thing. I think it really is just me not enjoying the experience and then not feeling like I got anything out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
I just, there's so much I love about it. I haven't watched it in like 2 years, though, because I watched it when it was on the not Criterion channel, Filmstruck.
Yeah.
Is when I first watched it. Rest in peace. The first and last time I watched it, and I watched it 2 times in a row. And I'm blown away by that movie every single time I watch it. And I don't know if it's because I'm a sadist or it's just because, like, I don't think I'm a sadist. I think it's more of just, I really respect, like, I completely get your criticisms of Michael Haneke, but I believe this man definitely has an ego, but I think the gall it took for him to like do that is very respectable.
Totally.
I think personally.
No.
Because I think it's so interesting how we never think about violence in films and how kind of like it doesn't seep into reality, but it can desensitize that whole idea of violence in the real world. And there are studies of that, just like the whole desensitizing of violence. And I believe like him kind of showing you that like violence is horrific and violence is scary, violence is terrible, is just like such a slap to the face to everybody that just glorifies it. I don't know. I just kind of like ballsy.
And well, my counter argument to, well, first of all, I still admire Michael Haneke as a filmmaker. Again, I haven't liked any of the movies I've seen from him, but I think he is still a great filmmaker. And I agree, it does take a lot of balls to do that. It takes a lot of courage and like, you know, confidence in your work and your ability as a filmmaker. Like, this movie would work even less if he was not as talented of a filmmaker as he is. To be able to sell those fourth wall breaks, to be able to sell the horror of what's happening, you know? And so like I admire it on a technical level and a lot of other elements, but I think to counter, you know, film showing realistic violence, I think about, I don't know if this is necessarily the best comparison. I think about something like Green Room. I think Green Room is a film all about like different types of violence and violent acts, and how like, you know, there are, and how like horrific real violence can be, and how it affects people, and how it like, you know, can really mess with people no matter how desensitized or jaded you believe you are, you know. And I think it does a much better job of doing that while making a film, you know. I don't want to say that, that's really pretentious, just like while making something that does have a point beyond telling the audience they're stupid for paying money to go see a movie that you told them was a horror movie, you know.
I don't know. I still think Green Room still kind of fetishizes violence in a weird way.
Bit,
I'm not
yeah.
I'm not like totally like disagreeing with you, but I do feel like there are moments and like close-ups in Green Room where like they're saying like, "Oh, look at that! Isn't that cool?" Like, "Oh, look at that!" If you know what I mean.
No, I think I'm be honest with you. I almost hesitated with that comparison, but I think it's still accurate, because like one thing I'll give Funny Games is that like a lot of the violence is off screen, right? A lot of the acts themselves are not shown. Again, excuse me, not giving the audience what they want, you know?
They show you the repercussions of the violence, though.
Yes. And that, again,
I think that's
yes, that is brilliant. That's amazing. But then I'm telling you, the thing that ruins it is the fourth wall breaks. The fact that the characters look at you and go, "Man, look at this shit. Isn't this so cool?" And you're like, "No, it's not." And they're like, "No, you think it's cool. That's why you're watching the movie." And I'm like sitting here like, "No, this is horrific, and I want to admire what you're doing." And the characters are like, "Nah, man, you just want to see people suffer." I'm like, "No, I want to appreciate the film you made and like give you credit for it, and not feel like you're talking down to me because I decided to watch your movie. So I'm giving your movie a chance, you know?" Because I think the movie on its own, without the fourth wall breaks, which were a late minute addition, that wasn't in the original script. Michael Haneke just thought, like literally, again, referring to the fucking behind the scenes, he watched a movie when he was a kid, like some random British comedy, where the character turns to the screen and breaks the fourth wall. And he was like, "Oh, wouldn't that be cool if I did it in this movie?" And so he just did, you know? And so like, and it's just funny to me that like this thing that is like the key feature of the movie kind of ruins it for me personally, you know? Like that's my biggest problem, is this one choice that is so bold, that is so, you know, that does reinforce what he's saying, but in the worst way possible, you know, for me.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, you know, 30 years down the line, we got Deadpool shooting somebody in the head and then turning to the screen and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna touch myself tonight." So Michael Haneke was kind of, I don't know. Yeah.
Agree to disagree.
I don't know. Is it like, yeah, agree to disagree. We've been talking about it for too long.
I'll just
I
by like
picture of Deadpool Funny Games though. It's like I think it's really funny about how like they're on two different ends, where you do have Deadpool that is this kind of ultra violent movie, and then Deadpool making about how violent it is, not in like a tongue in cheek that funny is, but more of just like a look at how cool I am because I shot this guy in the head. I'm gonna jerk off to this later tonight kind of thing.
100%. I'll just end by saying I think you and Brandon are completely right. I think all three of us just take it in different ways. I think I'm more bothered by that than you guys are, and you guys are more impressed by what it does. And I think we both have good thoughts about it, or like well thought out readings on it.
I'll just say I haven't said anything because I've seen neither one, but I've been meaning to. So
you should. I don't like it, but you should see it.
And I've also been distracted, but yeah, I haven't seen either one. I've been meaning to. So.
And then one last thing. I swear I'll be done because I've been taking up like an hour of this fucking show. Atlanta's great. I've been started watching it. I'm on season 2. Please watch Atlanta. It's really great. I'm now a fan, even though I'm behind on everything ever. So Atlanta is like, it's unpredictable. Almost every episode it's like its own short film. I love it. It's so good.
Well, we'll talk about it in depth next episode if you want.
Yeah, well, about to say I'll finish season 2, so by then,
yeah,
that'd be nice.
Because I've rewatched it over the past like 2 days since we talked about it on Friday. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna rewatch. I rewatched it. I do have a lot of things to say about it, but I didn't realize how long we've been talking. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and that's basically all I watched this weekend as well. Is Atlanta. And I watched a Netflix documentary about Michelle Obama.
Is that good?
I guess.
It's fine.
I don't know. It's definitely a documentary where you're trying to make a person look the best in the best light as possible, kind of thing. I'm not saying Michelle Obama has ever done anything wrong. I'm not implicating that.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely felt factory made, if you know what I mean.
There weren't a lot of like both sides are like saying, hey, Michelle Obama isn't perfect. Like,
yeah, it follows her on her book tour.
Becoming?
Yeah.
Who watched Becoming?
I did.
Oh, what'd you think?
It was okay. I don't know. Just I thought it was just very surface level and factory made. That's all I'm saying about it.
I mean, I still cried when Godspeed came on, so.
But like that's like the kind of like manipulation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like it's definitely trying to manipulate the audience to feel something in a lot of ways, and it's not even trying to be secretive about it. It's more just like in your face, like, oh, you guys like Frank Ocean? Here's some Frank Ocean songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it would have been much more interesting because there are parts in the documentary where they kind of tiptoe around like how it's very surface level when they talk about how she felt during certain times when the Obamas were in office. And I feel like it would have been so much more interesting if they went more in depth with that. But they didn't because they have to like protect the presidential kind of identity, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it was less about like the politics though, and more about her as like, I don't know, like a figurehead to like young women and young girls all around the country, and like how important she is to them. So I feel like it was less about that. But like if it was a documentary specifically portrayed as something like, oh, look at behind the scenes behind the White House, and you saw the documentary you saw now, like I'd understand that. But I mean, it's more about her becoming who she is today, in terms of like as someone who's influential in that regard.
I get that. I do. I really love the parts where it breaks away from Michelle Obama and it does follow other women.
I like that a lot.
And like those are my favorite parts of the documentary. But everything else is I don't know. It's just like I really would have loved a whole documentary about Michelle Obama and the people that she inspires that doesn't have to like force a moment where Barack shows up. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt that was just kind of like, oh, here's Barack if you guys aren't interested in Michelle. And then it's just like, okay.
I mean, he was just coming to visit his wife. You know, he said, hey, everybody, I'm Barack Obama. The drone strikes. You know what I mean?
Me, old Barack drone strikes Obama.
Yeah, but I didn't think make about the drone strikes, but I don't know. I think they're cute. I think they're a cute couple. I like seeing them together.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's not the right time for a documentary like this either.
It's too soon.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I just have such a lack of faith in any political figure when it comes to anything. And I can just spot when somebody's being fake and just kind of putting on a facade. And that's how I felt about Michelle during a majority of this. I'm just like, you're putting on a show right now.
I don't know. Like, I don't think
I love the parts where it does follow the people because it shows more of her impact on those people. But there's like 3 parts where that happens, and each one's like 2 minutes each, and then it follows her back on her tour, and it's just her just putting on this facade of like, oh, I'm just like you kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying by that?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but I feel like a lot of our kind of like perception of her as a figure and a political figure has been like kind of like swayed by her time in the White House and like kind of because like when it comes down to it, I feel like she is like when it comes to like political figures and like politicians, I feel like she is like one of the more genuine people, more genuine than her husband. I feel like she's one of the more genuine kind of like figures in politics. She actually cares about the people who she's impacting. I feel like, and I think that does come through. I think a lot of it's kind of like a puff piece, like about Michelle Obama. But I think there's a lot of like genuine stuff in it. Like when she's talking, like you said, she's talking to her the kids and everything. Like when she's talking to like her mother or like going back to like where she grew up. I don't know. I think a lot of that's really interesting. Like a lot of it's really really sweet. And like I don't know, like because I watched it with my girlfriend and we were talking about it, like how like she's been such a big influence on so many like young women. Like when she was elected, like that was one of the biggest things to a lot of young women in the country. And I don't know. I think they did a good job of like portraying that. But yeah, I see what you mean though. It's pretty.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a puff piece.
It like I said, it's serviceable. I think I would give it like 3 stars on Letterboxd. I just feel like I don't know. Like I said, I'm just so jaded by everything now. I just think about like I just feel like I just have no faith in any body that has had a high position in our government. I don't know why, but that's just how I feel.
That's fair.
And that just might be a fault of my own.
That's fair. No, that's completely like founded, like fair.
But yeah, that's basically all I watched.
Would you talk about before?
Huh?
Would you talk about before becoming?
We talked about Atlanta a little bit, but we're gonna talk more in depth once Sam finishes it.
Okay.
It's my fault, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
next week we'll talk more.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
No. So pardon me for being a little distracted. I've been
Slideshow.
I've been watching the race on my laptop.
Same thing.
At the same time. But so I didn't watch it too much this week, which was nice from me watching like 12 things the week before. Seemed like it was Schwarzenegger week because on Tuesday, Total Recall came on IFC. I had never seen it before. I kind of loved it. I really love the...
Did Adam die?
Oh no, the race took him out.
Oh, okay.
Adam, could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
All right. Could you get closer to the camera?
Oh, no, that's what I was trying to do earlier.
Yeah, and then do this.
But
One more time, Adam.
What?
One more time, please.
Oh, you want to capture it?
No. I just want to see you.
All right, let me not laugh first. Okay. I figured you were. So,
Hey, hold on. Let me do something really quick. Right. All right. Wait. Let me just.
Continue, Adam.
Yeah, continue. Adam.
okay, so yeah, I think my wife had disconnected there for a sec. But Total Recall came on IFC on Tuesday. I'd never seen it before, and so I watched it. I kind of loved it. The futuristic
Which one
stuff
was that?
was
I'm sorry.
Hmm?
Which one was that?
Total Recall,
Ah.
the original. I loved all the futuristic stuff. The movie looks great. RoboCop's the only movie of Paul Verhoeven's I had seen before this. So I'm kind of tempted to go watch Basic Instinct and Starship Troopers and a couple of his others.
RoboCop.
Sorry?
RoboCop.
No, I've seen RoboCop.
Have you seen Showgirls?
No, I have not.
Gotta watch Showgirls.
It's essential. It's like it's an actual masterpiece.
It is. Kyle MacLachlan's in it.
I've heard both things. I've heard it's great and I've heard it's terrible. So
Man, everybody got AIDS and shit.
I heard it kind of it's shot through like a male gaze.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
It's kind of gross.
But yeah, I really love Total Recall. And then, like I said, it seemed like it was Schwarzenegger week because the next day, HBO aired both Commando and True Lies. Commando, I woke up at, I think, 1 in the afternoon, and that came on right away. So it was kind of quite a way to wake up. Commando's a lot of fun. It's dumb, but I really enjoyed it. It's an hour and a half it's like what I said about Speed, watching it a couple weeks ago. It puts the pedal to the floor and never really lets up. Like Commando, just like, okay, here's what's happening. We've got an hour and a half. We're just going to go all out. And I really enjoyed how they did that kind of style that they decided to go with. And it's just Arnold working his way to get his daughter back, and then he just kills like 500 people in the final 20
Goes
minutes.
shirtless against a small nation like Army.
Yes. Yeah, shirtless Schwarzenegger.
See, Adam, Mikkel Haneke thinks that you're a bad person. Adam, how are you in 2 places at once?
And 2 Adams.
I'm right behind.
Which one's the real Adam?
That's the tethered Adam. This is the real Adam.
That's the tethered Adam.
Yeah.
Brandon, send that photo to the chat or all the chats.
I will.
Which
But-
one's the real Adam? We can't tell.
I was going to
Jesus
watch
Christ.
True Lies when it aired on HBO. I had to wait a couple hours because the Darlington race that night went on longer than it should have. And so I watched it like super early in the morning the next day. True Lies is pretty great too.
Pretty fun.
Pretty bonkers finale that I really enjoyed. Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis are both great in it. I really like Arnold. And I mean, like, most of the movies I've seen him in are the Expendables movies, and he's not really in them, so they don't really count. But I really enjoyed him in these, even more so than in Terminator, because he just kind of has fun with it.
Have you never seen Kindergarten Cop?
No, and I've never seen Jingle All the Way either.
Okay, so Kindergarten Cop is actually a good movie. Jingle All the Way is a terrible movie, but it has a soft spot in my heart. So my family watch it every year.
I know the Turbo
horrible
Man doll
movie for
line,
kids.
but that's about it.
Sorry?
I know the Turbo Man doll line, and that's about it from Jingle All the Way.
Do you not know Put That Cookie Down?
No.
Where he's on the phone yelling at the guy that's trying to sleep with his wife to put the cookie down?
No. I haven't, no. But yeah, it was a fun trio of movies. I really enjoyed watching Arnold just kind of doing whatever. On Thursday, I watched Fury, which I've seen before. I saw the year it came out. Speaking of David Ayer earlier, I saw the year it came out, not in theaters, just like after it came out on DVD, I guess. But I really like Fury. It's kind of a by the numbers war movie for sure, but everyone's really good in it. All the main cast are great, and
Logan Lerman's
great in it. Brad Pitt's great in it. Michael Pena is really good. John Bernthal's good. They don't have much to do, but they're still pretty good. And I don't know. It's a really nice, compact war movie. It's not that long. It's pretty well shot. I like the angle of them focusing on just the crew of a tank rather than like it's something different rather than like I don't know, like Saving Private Ryan or something like that. That's a little more expansive. But yeah, that was my only rewatch of the week. But other than that, it was just a lot of guns and Schwarzenegger and war movies, which I guess is appropriate since today's Memorial Day.
Always a good
Yeah,
time.
pretty solid week.
Best war movie on 3. 1,
Wait,
2.
hold on.
I'm about to say,
Wait.
I have to think about it. Hold on.
Yeah, me too.
The answer is American Sniper, people.
No, I got mine. I'm ready
I
to
got
go.
mine too.
I got mine.
Wait.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Battle
American
for
Saving
Terra.
Private Ryan.
Okay, wait. What did everybody say?
I said Lolita.
You said Lolita.
I said Saving Private Ryan.
No,
I said.
Leia, can you do it again one more time on 3?
Well, I just want to say.
Oh,
1, 2, 3.
Battle for
Saving Private
Los
Ryan.
Angeles.
Brandon, what'd you say again? I'm sorry. Every time you cut out on my end.
Justice League.
I said Battle for Terra.
This is Battle of Los Angeles.
No, dude, Battle of Terra is better, dude. It's like a kid's war
America.
face. Oh my god. All right.
Yeah, that's what I watched.
Perfect.
Okay, so it's me now.
It's you, baby.
I actually did I watched and played a lot of stuff this week.
Hey.
Yeah. So first thing here, I watched it actually today. I'm in the middle of Mishima, like 4 parts.
Alive in 4 chapters.
4 chapters. I'm in the middle of it right now. I've not finished it yet.
Where'd you leave off?
I actually got left off like in the very beginning, in the part where like where he's kind of getting together his clothes and everything. I didn't get that far next. I went to get my food.
So wait, have you seen the first like short story yet?
No, not yet. I'm in the middle of the first short story.
Oh my god. Okay.
But like, have you seen Koyaanisqatsi, Sam?
No, but I know about it because it has the Philip Glass score.
Yes, because I was shocked because like he did Mishima and Koyaanisqatsi, and like I was shocked by how similar the scores are.
Yeah.
He kind of has that thing where all the scores, it's like the
Yep.
and, like, it's very very similar to that one too, but it's still phenomenal. But yeah, I'm in the middle of that. But before Mishima,
When you finish
I
it.
watched a very similar film to Mishima. It's called The Lovebird, starring Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae.
Does one of them commit suicide?
Close.
Do they commit career suicide?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Not exactly. Like, it's not a terrible film. It's not good, but it's not terrible. There's some like kind of funny parts in it. Issa Rae is pretty good in it. Kumail Nanjiani does the thing where he's like, that's what Kumail Nanjiani does in The Lovebirds, but
He's just always confused.
he's always confused, perpetually confused. But yeah. Another film I watched was Sorry to Bother You.
Hey.
I talked about it a little bit before the show, but I love it. It's kind of an amazing film.
I think it's a masterpiece, but
I would not argue that one. Like, I think it's very, very good. I don't know if I call it perfect, but like
it's not perfect, but it's a masterpiece.
that's I would not argue. But yeah, I think that it's Boots Riley's kind of like it's his very chaotic love letter to kind of like Oakland, and it's kind of his kind of hate letter to capitalism and gentrification. And I don't know, I think it's like a really, really, really like unique and like it's a film that has so many kind of moving pieces to it. And I think that by the end of the film, you go into it thinking it's going to be something, but then you walk out of it like shell shocked and like absolutely just like blindsided by everything that happens in the film. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's so brilliant.
And, well, so one thing I'll add is I feel like Sorry to Bother You is a movie that like is such an amazing ride to go on, and it almost fails the landing. Like it almost misses, right? With like the final shot, like what you think is the final shot, the movie almost kills everything. And then the last moment saves like the very last, like literally the credits have started and then it's like the post credits in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And it just like completely epitomizes the entire movie.
Like it's, oh my God, it's like you have this big like weight on your chest and it's just like, oh my God, thank God. Like, yeah. Like I actually forgot because I hadn't seen it in like 2 years. So like I forgot about it, and I was like, oh, thank God, I remember it now. But yeah, sorry to bother you. Great, good film.
It's all right. It's
I
just
give it 5 chef's kisses. I also watched. I watched 2 more films than like I played 2 games, 2 video games. I watched Chef again because it's my comfort film.
chef kisses all around.
Chef kisses all around. It's a perfect film. There's literally nothing wrong with it. Like, I think it's a perfect film all around. John Favreau is so good in the film, and it's his best film. Period. It's better than The Lion King. It's
Better than Swingers.
Huh?
Better than Swingers.
Better than Swingers. Better than Iron Man 2. Better than Jungle Book. Like it's better than all the films. Like Chef masterpiece.
Is it better than Cowboys versus Aliens?
Better than Cowboys versus Aliens. It's a high bar to clear, but
No way. There's no way. I don't believe you.
I'm telling you, it's better. Have you not seen it before, Sam?
I've never seen Chef.
Didn't Chef and Burnt come out in the same year? I get them confused.
Chef and
Burnt was bad, right?
Burnt is garbage.
Okay.
Burnt with Bradley Cooper.
That bad.
It's garbage.
Bradley Cooper's really good.
He's good, but the movie's like, is he that really good? Is he really good?
He's super charismatic.
He's super charismatic, and what's the one with Jennifer Lawrence?
American
Serena?
No, yeah, American Hustle. Yeah, American Hustle. But that movie sucks.
Serena, what's it called?
Serena. Oh man.
Bro, I remember I tried to convince myself American Hustle was good when I first saw it. Jumped through a lot of hoops.
Yeah, it's not. Though.
Silver Linings Playbook is great.
It's great. It's very good.
That's true. David O. Russell. Sometimes he hits it.
Three Kings, just okay.
I was about to say something about, but it's probably I'll say it after the yeah, David O. Russell, not a good person. Yeah, terrible human being. But yeah, I watched Chef. I also watched because it's kind of a connection to Stop Making Sense we watched 2 weeks ago. Jonathan Deme's film Beloved.
Beloved? You said it's called Beloved?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen it before?
No, I was just clarifying. Sorry.
Oh, do you know what it is?
No idea.
Oh, it's based on the Toni Morrison novel, Beloved. Yeah, it's about a freed slave who's the ghost of her baby, I guess the poltergeist of her baby who she killed to save her from slavery. It haunts her like family home, and it's like genuinely perfect. Like it's one of the best horror films I've ever seen in my entire life. Like
wow,
it has so much to say about slavery and the repercussions of it, and the kind of the ramifications of it on like the psyche of African Americans, and like it's even like after you kind of slavery's over, like kind of it lives in the minds of like Black people across like in America, and it's so brilliant. And it's a lot. There has a lot of because I'd seen him before, but I kind of watched it again because I was listening to a podcast. You know who Wesley Morris is, Sam, right?
Wesley Morris?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. He's like one of the best film critics. Like, he's like one of my favorite film critics. He won a Pulitzer Prize like a few years ago, but he's like a really great film critic. He has a podcast. And he's talking about
what's the podcast called?
Still Processing.
Still Processing. Okay.
It's by the New York Times, and like he does it with like a woman, I forgot her name, but and they were talking about Us and like its connection to Beloved, and it's like Beloved, like Us, like good film, but Beloved, it's like on a different level in terms of like it's like I'm thinking about it now. There's so much imagery in it, and there's so much kind of like really like incredible filmmaking behind it, along with like being such a like resonant story and such a powerful story about like motherhood and like slavery and how the two intersect. And it's a brilliant, beautiful film, and I would highly recommend it, Sam. Like it's so good.
Is it streaming anywhere?
I actually have the film.
Perfect.
But I'm not sure. Let me check for you. But yeah, like I would say watch it. Like
I'll rent it. Fuck it.
Yeah, watch it as soon as possible, Sam. Like it's so great.
You have me hooked. You have me hooked on Jonathan Demme and Ghost Story. Like
yeah. The main character it stars Oprah
mm-hmm.
and Andy Newton and Danny Glover.
I'm Danny Glover. I'm in.
She plays her like kind of like boyfriend / like friend.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everyone's so great in it, and it's one of the best. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite films. But yeah. So those are all the films I watched. I played 2 games. I finished one, and I'm in the middle of another one. The first one I played and finished was Uncharted 4.
Hey.
Yeah, a game I hadn't. I give it 4 chef kisses out of because it's Uncharted 4. I give it 4 kisses. But yeah, it's a really, really great game. I would say it's probably like my 3rd favorite of the series.
The Uncharted games?
Yeah.
How would you rank them?
It's probably my 2nd, honestly. I'd say 2 is number 1, 4, 2. I go 3 and then 1.
Mm-hmm. I think you said you like 3.
Huh? What?
I thought you said you like 3.
Yeah, I changed. Sorry. Yeah, do you see me? Like, I kind of freeze.
Yeah. No, I thought. Did I freeze?
A little bit.
I never freeze.
I never freeze. No.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
All right. Yeah, but but I lost train of thought.
So you're
yeah.
ranking Uncharted.
Yeah. So yeah, Uncharted. I like 3. I haven't played because I played 1. I played 2. I skipped 3. And I went straight to 4. And kind of that was kind of like indicative of how I felt about the game to me because like I love it and it's so fun and there's so many fun like set pieces in it. But like there's a lot I don't remember in it. And between like the plane level or the plane like game where you're playing in it, or like when you're on the boat, which is really fun. There's so much fun stuff in it, but I don't know, because like Uncharted 4, the payoff in it and like kind of the story is so great. And like I love Sam. I love you, Sam, but I love Sam. Yeah, I love Sam. But also love Sam Drake. I think he's such a great character. I think his relationship with Nathan is really, really great.
I personally love the relationship between Nathan Drake and
Elena?
Yes, his wife. I totally blanked her name. I love their relationship in Uncharted 4. I think it's so well done. I
used to be on like the Chloe bandwagon.
I did.
Like I always thought with Chloe, but then Uncharted 4 when I first played it, I was like, okay, like I love them.
Yeah, like their relationship is so like it's so well written and so pure and so like and it's so believable because I couldn't see like him with Chloe long term. And like have you guys played Lost Legacy?
Not yet.
I have not either. So I don't know how she's like in that game, but I think in this like the relationship's so well fleshed out and you can really like you really are rooting for the entire game. And Elena's so much more interesting in this one too. Because I feel like prior to 4, the relationship's kind of like there's really not that much depth to it. It's like, oh, she was the only woman other than like it was Sully and Elena. And
so
like,
okay, so sorry to interrupt. Has anybody here? I think I've asked this before. Has anybody played Bayonetta? So there's a character in the game who's this journalist that's trying to like catch Bayonetta, I guess, or is always chasing her because he thinks that he doesn't think, he knows that she killed his father. And so it's like a constant like cat and mouse sort of thing where they're chasing each other. But really he just is really into her and wants to have sex with her. And that's how I always read her Melina's character in Uncharted in the first 3 games.
Yeah.
She's just kind of like there, like she's just a journalist that happens to be there and like, oh, there might be something. And then 4 really develops that.
Yeah. I think it's such a great game. And I hadn't played it in 4 years. So like coming back to it and refreshing it, it's just like I really, really appreciated it. Really, really loved it.
Yeah, I'm gonna replay all of the Uncharted games soon.
You have them, Landon?
Yeah, I have the Uncharted collection, and I have 4 still.
Nice.
Like I said, when I first, I wasn't hooked by it. I kind of played halfway through, and then I came back and finished it. And I really, really love it. I love the ending. I think the ending is it's so, I don't know how to describe it. It's just so earned in it makes this person you've been following for such a long time and that conclusion they have, it feels so right.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people wanted it to end a different way with Nathan Drake, like with his death or something, but like the way that it ends is just so perfect. It's so perfect. I just love it.
Because like going into 4, I thought it would end with his death, and I was like, okay, that's not like the logical conclusion. But like, it's so weird. After seeing the ending to the game, I can't imagine it ending any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so there's no other way I can imagine. And like reading it on paper, it's like, oh, this kind of sounds stupid, but like, it like hits you in a place. Like I kind of like playing it this time, I kind of got like choked up a little bit. I don't know why, but like it hit me because I played it pretty much all the way through, and like I don't know, it hit me. It hit different this time around. I don't know.
I think after I finish The Last of Us, I might go back and replay them because you're talking about Uncharted 4 a couple of days ago made me think, man, I want to replay those again because I played the trilogy in one summer because like I bought it and then I got 4 a few months later, I think. So yeah, and then the way I rank them is like 4, 3, 2, 1. Like I order them in reverse release order. That's how I feel about them.
Also, in 4, you get to play Crash Bandicoot.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know. Also, a game that's kind of like less, the consensus isn't really as like strong. I played Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm in the middle of right now. I actually can see Landon is he's having a reaction to the name the title.
Shivering.
Like shivering. His teeth are like sucking his teeth. But,
like spits.
yeah.
Say
like,
that name around me.
Yeah, he's chewing that dip like Arthur Morgan out. But yeah, I like it. I think it was a good game. I agree. The mission structure is really repetitive, and like I'm like not even 3 hours into it, and I'm just like really bored by the missions, and like I just want to get to the payoff because like I don't know. I think it works better as like a movie. Like watch the cutscenes are really entertaining. I think all the characters are really great.
Yeah, there's one scene in Uncharted where you're just walking through a town and then just something happens to a character that you kind of like fallen in love with just out of nowhere, and it like that's a moment that like always sticks with me because it's just so well done. It's so well done. You know the moment I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
In Uncharted?
No, and
yeah, I figured he was
Wait, sorry, what? Sorry.
In Red Dead.
in Red Dead
Okay,
Redemption
I thought
2.
about Uncharted. I was like, huh? I got you. All right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not done playing it yet, but I'll probably finish it like sometime this week. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. I think it's good. Like I think it's a good game. It's very very flawed, but I think some of its parts makes a really really worthwhile experience. And I wasn't like I was still happy I played it. I'm gonna be happy I played it again. You know. But yeah, that's my Red Dead 2. Also, it's a spooky game. It's a really spooky game. I'm doing a lot more kind of like exploring and doing the side missions a lot more. And like, ooh, it's spook.
Spooky for you?
Time for June?
Sorry?
Perfect time for the spookiest month of June?
Spookiest month of the year, everyone. June's coming up.
I mean, Last of Us 2 is coming out in June. That's going to be a spooky game.
Yeah, it's going to be very spooky.
That's going to be a get
in
depressed
some ways more than
game.
others.
Shut up, Brandon.
What do you mean? I said a phrase.
Luckily, I didn't hear the phrase, so.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. So yeah. Now, if anyone has anything else to say or anything about the games or about movies or anything, we move to Popstar, Adam's pick. Say it now. Hold your piece.
Moving on.
Moving on. All right. So Adam, want to introduce the film you picked last week?
Yes, so I want to tackle one more thing. I've also been watching a lot of episodes of Community over the past week. I am midway through season 5, almost done with season 5. Still a great show. Season 4 is weird because that's when Dan Harmon left, but now it's better because season 5 is when he came back. The main cast is still great. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll have more to say next week when I finish watching it. But yeah, so this week we all wound up picking musicals 4 weeks in a row, cycled back around to me, and I said, you know what, screw it. None of us have picked it yet. I'd like to rewatch it. Let's watch Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping, which was released in 2016. It's basically a Lonely Island production where they kind of take a mockumentary kind of look at pop stars now and their lives and everything, but they make it as funny and ridiculous as they can and put in as many celebrity cameos as they can. I think I said this in my review a little bit. I think my personal favorite uh, cameos were Martin Sheen, because it's like a 2-second clip where he just like punches Andy Samberg. Emma Stone, who has a singing bit, ironically in the same year that she did La La Land, and Ringo Starr, who's in the movie for some reason, but it's awesome. And it's just a lot of fun. It's like an hour and a half, so it's in and out, and it's really entertaining. I know the soundtrack for me, it's something I come back around to at least once a year, probably, maybe even once every like 6 to 9 months, something like that. And it's really addicting to listen to, and I'll just be like, oh, I have this CD in my car, and I'll just put it in, and then I get hooked on it for a week or two. But
CD.
yes, yeah. So Landon, you had seen it. It had been a while. Brandon, you had seen it relatively recently, but
Yeah.
yeah. And Sam, you had never seen it, so I'm curious as to what. I don't know which direction I'm gesturing to. I'll do it on my computer. What you guys thought of the rewatch, and Sam, what you thought of your first time watching it.
So do you want me to start then, or
Yeah, send me a sorry.
sure? So this movie is terrible. It's no. I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I know that before we started, I know Landon was talking about how he's afraid that it might have been overhyped. I don't think it was. I think I went in with the right expectations, knowing that is a Lonely Island movie. My experience with Lonely Island is they can be hit or miss sometimes. When they do hit, their music is really great. It's really funny. It's really well done. When they miss, it's kind of annoying, or like it just kind of outstays its welcome. But what's so good about Popstar is that it's a movie that is moving so fast that even if a joke misses, they rarely drag it out. There are a couple of times here and there where a joke drags out, but like there's like I literally, as I was saying that sentence, I was trying to think of any jokes that dragged out, and I couldn't, because all I could think about is the jokes that I actually enjoy, because there's just so many of them. And I think
The wolf joke drags on.
I think it's funny for like.
it doesn't drag on that long. I don't think it doesn't. It's funny, that wasn't one of the ones that dragged on for me. That was
It's
one
just
that, like,
I hate the ending with the wolf, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
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 No, I totally see that. I 100% see that. And I think that's sort of one of the interesting things about the film is I feel like depending on who you are, some things are really going to work and some things are really not going to work. Like, I just remember one of the scenes I had a problem with, we talked about, and I was like, yeah, that didn't really work for me. Everyone else was like, oh, I love that scene. Like, the scene's so funny. I was like, oh, okay. But like, they're just doing so many different things, and they're just trying out so much stuff. And I think the way I phrased it when we watched it earlier last week was, whenever the movie is being super like low key, like whenever it feels like a bunch of people hanging out, that's when it's at its best. When the movie is getting absurd and it's just on a whole other level of goofy, it's at its best. It's at its worst when it involves celebrities, and it's as worse when it involves some celebrity cameos, and it's at its worst when it tries to be more of like a middle of the road humor. I don't know how else to describe it, but like, a bad ad lib comedy film, I guess.
Super lowest common denominator, like very, very. Like,
Yeah. There's some jokes that kind of like, all right, but like, so, and when I say celebrity cameos, I think one of my favorite aspects of the film is how it's set up like a documentary, and they really commit to that. And whenever they like play with the documentary format, those are the best parts. And the celebrity interviews, most of them are really funny. And then some of them are like the one that really sticks out to me is the one with DJ Khaled, where like
Really
it's
funny.
just an excuse. Sorry?
It's really funny.
No, as not funny. Because it's just an excuse for DJ Khaled to be like, I make catchphrases, so I'm gonna say a catchphrase.
It's your key.
Yeah, and you're just kind of like, oh, haha, it's funny because it's DJ Khaled. But then when you make them actual characters in the movie, like the running joke with Usher, which I don't want to spoil, like that's so good and it pays off so well, you know, and just like, you know, the way I think about it, it reminds me of the Netflix documentary series Hip Hop Evolution, where you'll watch a video of like some dated, goofy like early '80s rap video, and then you'll like cut to some guy and he's like, dude, man, that inspired my entire life. Like without that, I wouldn't be where I am. And that's like what's so great about Popstar. You just see something really stupid and really goofy and like something no one would like, and then we'll cut to like Nas. He's like, that changed my life, man. I wouldn't be here without the donkey slide. Like I just
And
Donkey
the
roll.
verse,
Same thing.
the catchphrase verse reinvented the game.
It did.
but like and you know, it's like stuff like that that's just like so funny to me, where it's just like it just works so well. And I think it works better because I kept thinking about something like Get Him to the Greek or like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where you have Russell Brand's character supposed to be like a big, huge pop star and everyone loves him, and the songs he makes are terrible, but the movie is trying to act like more serious about it, right? You're supposed to accept that this character is beloved and this is like a realistic type of world. But then in Popstar, it's so goofy, it's so ridiculous. They clearly are aware of like what they're doing and how it appears that it just works every single time.
Like Lawrence's Jeans song.
Sorry?
Lawrence's Jeans song where he's talking about
Oh, yeah.
Which one? Sorry.
Things in his Jeep.
What?
These are the
Jeep
things in my
song.
Jeep.
Oh yeah, yes. That whole thing. Yes. That's so good.
I didn't really connect to that song because, you know, like I have things in
It's so good. Oh my god. Oh man.
says that. I forget to do that. Is that Nas?
I think it might have been Nas, yeah.
I think it is
I think
Nas,
that's
yeah,
right.
which kind of makes it even
I
better.
feel like Nas has all the funniest parts in
Yes.
the movie when it comes to like
Although
musician interviews.
I think his are the best because it's Nas. Like
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me if they got like Kendrick Lamar and he's like, dude, like changed my life. You
Who's
know?
ironically in YOLO.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say he's worked with them before, so I was surprised he didn't show up. But or like, okay, another cameo that didn't work for me was Justin Timberlake. Where like when he's playing the chef character, it's funny. And then they try to be like, oh, but he can sing. And it's funny because no one thinks he can sing, even though he's Justin Timberlake. And you're like, I guess. It just kind of feels like an excuse for Justin Timberlake to show off that he can sing.
I mean, like, it's not really him. It's like him goofily singing. It's like, my name is Mr. Fish. These guys having great.
No, it's not that part. Like that payoff is funny. But there's the specific scene when he's like preparing food and everyone's hanging out in like the green room. He's like trying to sing, like, shut up, shut up. And they just go off on him. And it's like, see, it's funny because it's Justin Timberlake and no one would ever tell him to shut up because he's Justin Timberlake. And you know, I'm like, I tell him to shut up.
I tell him to shut up because he made Man of the
Man of the
Woods.
Woods.
Man in the what? He made I was about to say he made the most safe for work filthy song ever.
Yeah.
It's been a while
you
since
give
I
us
watched
Suit
it.
and Tie,
It's been probably 3.5 years now. It was like fall 2016, I think. I regret not seeing it in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see the Filthy music video, Sam?
Oh, you bet I saw the filthy music video where he's Steve Jobs dancing with a weird like sexy robot. Wait, is he dancing with it or is he just like in the background like, yeah, like
he's like
he's like awkward white guy dancing in like backstage while the robots like break dancing and shit and everyone's like, whoa,
he's like a turtleneck on. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my god.
What did you guys think about the payoff of the farm.
Oh, it's
love
pretty
it.
good. It's
I
pretty
love
good.
it. It's like this empire. It's like
Yeah. He's like, hey guys, I'm gonna take a break real quick, and they're like, okay. So everybody,
It's just so good. But I think the movie.
everything with him is great. I love his character so much.
Yes.
I
Who?
think it's
there's
forget
so
what-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
it's Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love everything in the farm.
There's like so many things, like even with like whenever Lawrence is with like the group, whenever they're all together, it's so funny. Like there's so many things in the film where it's like this wouldn't work in another film. Like, but like the scene where in the limo and he's like the dick's in the window. He's like, "This is my life. I'm slurping it down." Like,
Yes. See, that's one of the jokes that works because like it is dragged out for so long,
Yes,
but then they keep evolving it. They keep escalating it.
The way that he,
It's the extreme. It's the extreme things they go to. It's like that, or the godlike head helmet thing that Jorma Tacone's character wears.
Laser beam.
Extreme things like that. It's like shoots out a beam of light and like sounds like Inception. It's
Like,
the best thing.
it's like the sound it makes. It's like Tron, like something from
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tron. Oh.
oh my god. One of my favorite jokes is we talked about the bee thing, but I was thinking back to it. There's one scene where Lawrence is holding a goat and they're talking on the phone, and he's like,
Yeah.
right now? Are you holding a goat right now? He's like, no, I'm having sex with a woman. So good. It's so good.
And I just, oh man, one of my other favorite elements of the film, I think we may have talked about this last time, is Hunter the Hunter. Just
He's
like,
hungry, yeah.
everything about him and just his character, like it's so good. Like
I will
think-
say, just to play off that real quick, Sam.
Mhm.
One thing I noticed that like there's stuff in this movie that I notice now that I didn't when I first watched it. Like when I first watched it, I didn't know who like Eric Andre was or Tim Meadows were, or something to that effect. But that's one of the things that's kind of evolved because Chris Redd plays Hunter the Hungry. That was his first ever film role, and now he's like a cast member, like a permanent cast member for the moment on
One
SNL.
of the worst shows on television.
I beg to differ, but that's a different argument.
Yeah, that's
Your
a bad-
40-year-old man is showing it.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
Adam. Here's. Oh, did I
Oh,
disconnect?
Sam froze.
Okay, I'm good. I'm good now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hear me out. All right. The only season of SNL that's good is the one that was on when you were in middle school. That is a fact.
With Andy Samberg, like the digital shorts.
No.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that for every generation, the best season of SNL is the one that was on when you were in middle school.
That
I
is
still
true.
enjoy it. I didn't
What?
start watching it until high school. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't start watching.
No, but that's
it
what I'm
until-
saying. Is like you first find out about it in middle school and it's great, and then you stick with it through high school, and then you're like, oh, this is bad. But now the new generation is on it, and they're like, oh, this is great, and they're gonna grow out of it.
I mean, the first half of last season was garbage, but it's not terrible.
It's bad.
It's kind of terrible.
Adam, you have to admit they throw all of their best cast members to the side. Like,
Oh no, absolutely, I agree with that.
I forget, like they put all of their like cast mates or cast members that are like big, and they like let them have their skit ideas. But all the best skits are normally cut for airtime, and they're always the funniest. They're
Yeah.
always
Like, okay, and also because because the funniest stuff at this point is like the sketches are like at this point all bad. Like the funny
Yeah.
stuff is always in like Weekend Update. Like that's
We
all.
can update or the digital shorts. Sometimes the cold opens, but those are usually the best.
The cold opens are like
are just them like making fun of like on a surface level.
yeah, it's all jokes that are like so they're it's really cheap, like not cheap shots, but they're like very like they're so easy. Like there's no like effort behind the jokes at all. It's like, oh, President Cheeto. Ooh, President Cheeto made another.
Okay, fine. Weekend update in the digital shorts.
Do they have digital shorts anymore though?
Yeah,
They don't
they
even
still
have
do.
to.
They have Pete
They
Davidson's
do
Chad
now 'cause
character
of, like,
is
the
fantastic.
coronavirus.
So
What?
the character that Pete Davidson does is great.
Okay, it was funny for like the first time. All he says now is okay.
Still funny.
All right.
That's just me.
Okay. But yeah. Anyways, Popstar, great film.
To be fair, I will say a lot of the things in Popstar feel like a bunch of like excellent SNL sketches
Yeah.
put together into something that's coherent and great.
I don't know if I agree with that.
A lot of it feels like stuff that they would come up with, but Lonely Island did it and made it better than what it would have been if these had been ideas that they had had while on the show.
I think their humor has evolved.
You see what I mean?
No, I think this is beyond, because like when I think of like an SNL sketch, right, or like a concept or an idea, I think this is just way more centered than that, right? This is clearly like everything is based, or almost everything is based around the music industry and how extravagant and insane it can get, and how people can get away with so much, right?
No, that's what I mean. I probably didn't explain it, but
I just don't like. I don't see someone coming up with like cut the camera to the sound of people fighting a herd of giant bees.
no.
I don't see signing a dick through a window like as an SNL sketch.
I was just thinking about this. I feel like Popstar and Atlanta have a lot in common. I know we're not talking about Atlanta right now.
Yeah, they kind of do.
How?
How so?
I feel like I see it.
I think the way that Paperboy is the most real out of all of the characters in Atlanta. But the whole idea of like the mythical like pop rap person like Justin Bieber or Drake or just like anybody that they make fun of is like the common identity. Yeah, is like Connor for real, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like that, like the Clark Counters or whatever. I could definitely see that. Honestly, I could. See that.
Yeah,
and I think there's definitely like this. Both have sort of like a heightened reality or like a fantasy element.
Well, I can see because like both of like you said like or more toward like extremist. I think they both kind of like delve into absurdism and like how all these forms of art have like these really like kind of like sectored off squares that are so extreme and so like ridiculous that it makes it funny to everybody except for the person in that like kind of like sect or kind of like circle. Everyone finds them funny except for them, and I think that's what makes Popstar and Atlanta so brilliant, honestly.
Yeah. Like the reason that I kind of like, because when I was watching Atlanta, like I said, we'll go more in depth next week. But when I was watching Atlanta, there's the one episode with the club and like the invisible car.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like
literally it does. It 100% does. Or like the Michael Vick joke.
Oh yeah, where it's just like like the hard cut, like. Well, it was Michael Vick. Yeah.
Or honestly,
I'll try to watch it.
Everything with the club owner.
Yeah.
Like him avoiding pain.
Or the guy with the Nutella sandwich.
Sorry?
In Atlanta, the Nutella sandwich.
What
about it? Sorry.
The guy on the bus, you know, like the first.
Oh, him! Yes, yes.
And then he shows up later in band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like,
wait, he does?
Yeah, he shows up in band. He has that commercial where he's like, "You ever have a dream?"
That was him?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah. By the way, Landon, did you ever call the number?
No, I haven't.
Ooh. I don't know if it's still works, but when I called it, it was really weird. It was very, very weird.
Oh man, I gotta call that number now.
I might have to watch it this week then before.
Please do it. I want to know what you say. Because if you like Popstar, you'll love it.
Okay, I have 3 shows to watch this week then.
Imagine a really dark pop star.
Yeah, it's very much like if you put normal people in the world of Popstar, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're both kind of brilliant. But my favorite cameo on Popstar, back to Popstars, is Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Every time Bill Hader's on screen, he's hilarious.
Isn't he only in that for like that one scene though?
He's in.
No, I
two,
think he comes back later.
Was it like?
Yeah, he does. I don't remember why, but he does.
The first scene is more memorable, but
All I remember is
Is
Flatline.
his first scene the one where he's knocking over all the guitars?
yeah.
Okay, let's see what his
so
second
funny.
scene is.
It's so funny because guitars aren't even used on the stage whatsoever.
That's why. And there's so many guitars. There's so many of them. There's like 5 or 6 of them.
He's like, yeah, my hobby is flatlining.
That's
That's a joke that goes on like long, but like every moment is just so good.
They keep building, and you're just like, dude.
Oh my god. Avatar is one of those movies where you just have like a smile on your face for so long that your cheeks kind of hurt.
Yep. And I think that's also like, I think if we want to go into like the songs and like, you know, the musical aspect of it, I guess, I think all of the songs are really good. I don't think there's like a bad song or like.
I was gonna ask, what was everyone's favorite? Mine, I'm probably biased because I saw it when it premiered on SNL as the digital short, but the Bin Laden song is still probably my favorite from the soundtrack.
I think mine is if like I'm Not Gay one.
That one's good too. Yeah.
Because you know it's like a parody of, right?
The Macklemore song.
Right?
Macklemore song. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She's so good.
In the 4th grade, I thought I was gay.
But I think my favorite part about that song or about that video they have for it is how like once it starts devolving into him literally just saying over and over like I'm not gay, is people looking at him like what is wrong with you? Like in the video, like what the fuck is happening?
Well, in the chorus, Pink keeps looking at him and giving him like these looks whenever he says it during the chorus too.
Right.
I was born this way. He's like straight.
Not gay, chicken wings.
You were born this way.
Lying in the bed with 10 beautiful models, and it's like it's just 10.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm trying to think what my favorite song is. I'm really not sure. I can't really.
My favorite song is the Mona Lisa song.
Oh, the Mona
Mona
Lisa.
Lisa's
That's a
pretty
really
good,
good
too.
one.
Hello?
Landon, have you listened to the full version of it? Did we lose Landon?
Oh, did we lose him?
Am I frozen?
Yeah.
Well, so your camera's frozen, but we can hear you.
Okay, there we go. So have you heard the full
Am I
version?
good now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say again?
So you've heard the full version or just the part of the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
I've heard the
A couple that because like they got musical cameos too, because Things in My Jeep, Linkin Park cameoed on. One of the songs is just called Fuck Off, and it's not in the movie, it's a deleted scene. But that one's pretty great.
Okay, question, guys.
And I'm So Humble, which leads the movie off, is also really good.
So if there's a pop star 2, what do you think will happen?
Connor for
Bring
becomes an egotistical maniac, even more so, and starts killing his crew.
Okay. Or go ahead, Landon.
Bring back Hunter the Hungry and make it an evolution of who Tyler the Creator is now.
He's now like more like emotional and thoughtful.
Yeah. It's just like scenes of him like crying and just like writing down everything.
I was gonna make a prank, man, but I didn't want to go back to that life, you know?
And he can't read it, go with his tears, and he's like, I can't read what does it say? He's like, what's it say? All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Or so Connor for real and Hunter the Hungry get a homosexual relationship together, but then Hunter cheats on him, and Connor makes his lemonade, where he makes it about Hunter cheating. But everyone's like, you can't do this. This is about
Igor is already about like somebody cheating on Tyler.
But wait. But no, like Igor he makes his Igor, but Connor makes his lemonade. But everyone's like, Connor, you're a white guy. Why are you doing this? He's like, no. And it's like
he just calls it lemonade too.
Lemonade. Pink lemonade.
Pink lemonade. See, okay. What I would love is if they make a Popstar 2, it follows like someone else. Like if it's a whole different like person, origins, song style. Like I don't know how you exactly would change it up. I think it'd be cool if it's like you still get the Lonely Island involved, but like it's still like their baby, but it's it's a different person, different maybe different like genre. I don't know. I just think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be super interesting and super funny if they had a pop star that's based in like DIY indie music. It would be so good. It would be so good. There's so much potential on like what to make fun in those kind of communities, and it would be perfect. It'd be perfect.
I would love to see like a K-pop pop star.
What if they did like a pop star set in like the 17th century with like a Beethoven style, but it's like Yorgos Lanthimos direct. It's like The Favorite, but like
Yes.
And it's like Beethoven, like a composer or violinist.
What about a pop star making fun of Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Oh my God, that's it. That's it.
They're writing a musical about Hitler.
No, it follows like Lin-Manuel Miranda, and he's like making a sequel to Hamilton, but it's about
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson.
No.
It just follows him like writing the raps for it, and it's just people telling him like, Lynn, you can't write a song about the Trail of Tears, and he's like, I will do it, and I'll do it well.
Oh my God.
That's my pop star too.
Popstar 2, Trail of Tears.
I will say one thing I thought about real quick too. Sam, you were talking about like where it's joke a minute, and you like before you kind of have time to process if something was bad. There's something that's even funnier. One of my favorite things, and it's on the soundtrack too. We lost Landon again. Is when I think it's the second track. It's between I'm So Humble and Before Equal Rights. It's in the movie, but he goes, it's just like something he would have posted on his Instagram story where he goes, hey guys, we got a hot new single coming for you. Going to be surprise releasing it next Tuesday at noon. So see you then.
Yeah, I love that.
Funniest thing. It's like
just finished jerking it.
Oh my God. I have to add this to my. So what I'll say is, after watching this, I've decided I need to add it to like my rotation of comedy movies, that like I just go back to all the time, and so that's like Shaun of the Dead, or like just like the Cornetto trilogy in general, 21 and 22 Jump Street, specifically 22 Jump Street, because 21 doesn't hold up as well. And Popstar is on there too.
Okay,
Popstar's on the list.
Popstar 2, but it's Christopher Columbus.
No.
I remember writing a musical about Christopher Columbus.
Too far.
No.
Okay, people would say Alexander Hamilton. Like 10 years ago, everyone would have said Alexander Hamilton's too far. The guy owned slaves. Okay, so I wouldn't put it past Lynn. Honestly, I would.
Let's write the script for the mockumentary about Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Let's do it.
Writing a musical about Andrew Jackson.
Lightning in the bottle again, okay? I got this. Oh my God.
But yeah.
They did, the steelbook for this movie also revealed what happened during the whole bee scene, and it looks amazing.
The what?
The steelbook for the movie has an artwork depicting what happened during the bee scene that happened off screen. It's amazing.
I thought you were really
That's fun.
cool.
If screen sharing wasn't disabled, I'd share it.
Well, yeah, that was Popstar. Any last departing thoughts about Popstar before we go to Landon's
Great
pick?
movie, very underrated.
4.5
so
stars.
I'm so humble. I gave it 4.5.
I gave it 4. 4.
What'd you give it, Landon?
4.5.
Brandon.
I don't even remember what I gave. I would give it 4.5 though now.
I think he gave it a 5. I think.
What?
Isn't it our number 50 in the top 100 movies?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Above Spider-Verse. I'm still upset about that.
I am too, honestly. Like, I don't know.
It was your choice.
You were the one that won.
I doubt no. I would not above Spider-Man.
Yes,
You
you're the
said
one
that.
was pushing it. You were the one that was like, it
That
has
was
to be
you.
the top 50.
I know. I would have made Spider-Verse above it though, but I was outvoted though.
No, you
weren't.
I'm telling you, I swear. Like I would not have been like, okay, I would not have been like, oh, put Popstar above Spider-Verse.
You were the one that said that Popstar has to be in the top 50.
We had to compromise. We had to compromise because you wanted Popstar in the top
So
50.
if all of you guys wanted Spider-Verse above it, then how did I get the only one then?
Because you were
You
pushing.
wouldn't let us. You kept arguing with us about it.
About Popstar being above Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Yes.
We have it recorded. We can listen to it.
All right, I want to listen to it then.
I do too.
Yeah, I want to listen.
I still look at that list and I'm like, how did we do this?
Okay. Anyways.
If there's honestly, if there's anything I could change in my life, I would redo like number 100 to 30 of that of that top 100 movies of the year list, of the decade list.
We should honestly. That should be like in one of the episodes on it.
Come back through. I can't change like the top 30 after that. That's set in stone. That's perfect by me.
I just remember how low you guys put Mommy, and I still think Mommy belongs in like the top 20.
I haven't
That's
seen
something
it,
to watch
so
it.
that didn't really matter to me.
That's part of the problem, is that we haven't seen it yet. But I trust you. I trust your judgment, Landon.
Brandon watched it.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know if it's top 20. I put maybe like top 40.
Slaps.
But yeah. So now we're going to go to Landon and his pick for us this week. But I don't know if it's going to be a movie. I don't know if it's going to be a movie. What's going to be, Landon?
All right, guys. I feel like I made this joke before, but I don't know. I recommend you guys to read the entirety of War and Peace before next week's episode.
All right, I'll try. I got you.
And then watch the movie War and Peace.
All 4 parts of the Russian
All 4
film?
parts. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, my recommendation, since The Last of Us Part 2 is on the horizon,
Less than a month.
I decided I think we should all revisit The Last of Us. I know Adam doesn't have a PlayStation, but I recommend Adam to watch not just the cutscenes, but the entirety of the game, just in general, because there's a lot of character built through the actual gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
And to get the full experience, I recommend you to do that. And along with the game, I also recommend to play the DLC, Last of Us Left Behind. But yeah, I think it's a game that is of its time. I will admit it, but I think it's a game that definitely kind of defined how great narrative video games can be, and how impactful and emotionally impactful video games can be. And I hope you guys all enjoy it as much as I do.
One thing I want to say right now, and I'll probably reiterate this when we talk about it next week. Whenever anyone says or complains about The Last of Us, saying that's just like it's just like any other like post-apocalyptic or zombie narrative, I I don't understand it because I think there is so much more going on with that story and with the way it's told and with its characters that a lot of people just ignore so they can dislike the game, or they can like have a reason to dislike it beyond just not liking the gameplay, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
But yeah, I agree with you, Sam. And we'll talk more about that on Thursday because like I finished playing it a couple weeks ago and I took some notes on some aspects that I really really love about it, and I can't wait to have like discussions with you guys. But yeah, I also before you guys like finish playing it or start playing it, I also recommend to just collect as many collectibles as you can and like read them because it's really really well done. So yeah, Last of Us.
Thank you, Landon. We're gonna play that and get back to you next week. Talk about it a little bit, but for now, that's this week's episode of Cinemania. Thank you everyone for joining us. My co-host,
Landon Roberts.
Adam Cheek.
Sam Goodrich.
Thank you again for joining us. Have a great week. Watch some movies. Stay safe. Have fun, everyone. All right, have a great week. Bye.
Bye. Bye.